the comfortability. I don't even know if that's the word, but I just made it a word. The comfortability of the interviews. But let me just tell y'all this. First of all, this coffee has me in a chokehold because I was like, okay, I'm gonna try the decaf first. I literally used all that coffee up in 2 days.
Nice.
Because I wasn't jittery. I wasn't, you know how most coffee, well, not most coffee, but some coffee will give you like a burst of energy and then you kind of even
The
out.
low. Yeah.
Yeah. The decaf didn't do it, but the regular coffee didn't do it either. So I need to understand, since we're talking to you again, because you're my favorite people now.
Well, thank you.
How did you come up with the blends for the coffee that complements Lilith so well? Like, I don't even understand how, because it was like, you know, sometimes you'll have a cigar and then you'll have coffee and be like, oh, okay, I taste a little. But this was such a seamless pairing. Like they were married, they were coexisting, you know, there was no separation in sight. Like, how does that happen?
You know, it's some of it's luck, quite honestly, you know, because there's so many different coffees, you know, so many different processes. It's complex. And it's just what we focused on with the coffee side of it. You know, first of all was, the quality of the coffee, the size of the plantations that we're getting from, because we're looking for a boutique to support, you know, and really it's, you know, when we've got two of our single source for sure. So the Spirit Mountain and the Ramirez Dominican organic. They're all organic, by the way, but that's just the name of that one. But they're single source, so there's no blend to it. It's a single source coffee. You're tasting one coffee from one plantation, one source, single source. All right.
Wow.
The Colombian, it's interesting because it's a sugar derivative that extracts the caffeine out. So it's natural. We're not talking about this chemical process, which, you know, they have what ammonia and other chemicals. I think maybe even arsenic, you know, like when they're trying to extract out caffeine, but there's a natural process.
So that's why your decaf is so good. And it's, you know, healthier because you don't have all those other ingredients in there.
Right. And you know what's funny is because I could literally taste what the difference is, not just because it was single source, but because of, you know, how, you know, name brands coffees, you know, your Starbucks, your McDonald's, your 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts, all that. They always have like that little tinge of bitterness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that from your coffee. Like, and I'm like, wait, something is, so I'm blaming that on the reason why I had to hurry up and go through all of the coffee. I just had to, you know, see if my assumption was correct. So is that process that you use that takes out that bitterness?
So usually a lot of it is on the bitterness. It's over roasting. Like Starbucks, they're notorious for over roasting their product. And unfortunately, there's people that think that's good coffee. Mm-hmm. You know, that's okay. But that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my palate. I don't like bitterness. Mm-hmm. You know, I like unless it's like a bitter candy. It's intention. I'm having a bitter candy, right? Mm-hmm. But in terms of like a coffee, the bitterness is a turnoff. I don't put cream or milk in my coffee. I drink it black. Mm-hmm. And when I drink Starbucks, I have to get their latte because I have to mask that horrible, dreaded bitterness with that sugar that you get from the milk, you know?
It's funny
Starbucks
you should say
awful.
that. Yeah. I mean, because now I ain't gonna lie. I get I don't drink the coffee from Starbucks, but I do get the caramel latte. I do get that. Yes. But it's funny that you said about the black coffee. I am not a black coffee drinker. Well, I rephrase that now because I didn't think I was a black coffee drinker until I drank your coffee. Yes. Like I didn't put any sugar in it and I didn't put any cream in it. And let me tell you something, even my grandbaby was like, Nina, you want the sugar for your coffee? And I'm like, no. And they was like, you sure, Nina? because they're so used to me having,
Right.
1 teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of cream.
Yeah.
None of that. It's like this coffee experience was an experience. It literally was an experience. And then when I paired it with the promise, listen, I had an attitude when the coffee was gone.
That's amazing. I love it.
Love it.
But you know what? And it's like when you say that, just think, if you have like 3 cups of coffee in a day, that's 3 tablespoons of sugar that you're saving yourself,
Exactly.
So that's a good point.
It is. You know what? Even my doctor was impressed. She was actually impressed because she was like, Miss Bowman, you still putting cream, sugar and cream in your coffee? I'm like, funny you should ask. No, I'm not. And
Oh,
so then I decided I had Lilith with the decaf, and then because I was going through it so fast, I was like, let me hurry up and have the promise with the other coffee, and again, seamless. So because you already had the cigars out, did that go into did you take that into account when you were making the coffee, like to make sure that they paired together, or was that just quite by accident?
Honestly, at this phase of it with the coffee, it was 2 different journeys. Okay, separate journeys. I got another business partner that mostly runs that business unit for me, right? And we're just looking for the highest quality coffee, and we realized that because the price point on it, it's not a coffee that everyone's going to buy, because if you don't value that experience, you're not going to spend say a good cigar. If you don't value the experience of a really good cigar, and you only want to spend $2-3, it's okay. That's where your wheelhouse is. That's what you want. And we realized it just kind of it reduced our amount of consumers down the market to a niche on that coffee. But that said, I knew as I was tasting those different notes and so on that it would pair with our cigars. The matter of which one would pair with which, at the point, that wasn't really a thought. But as we're adding in new product now we're more established on the coffee side, the cigar side, there will be more of a collaborative type of a thought, like let's make a collaboration, coffee with a new cigar. And so like this new cigar, but we have to change the name on it, unfortunately.
yeah, it's not the promise anymore.
What?
Yeah.
No, I know it is a promise, and that's what I'm gonna say.
I know. You should see the box. You should see the artwork. It's beautiful with the promise, beautiful. But we have to change it.
Oh, can you share why you have to change it?
It's IP, because have you ever heard of a cigar called La Promesa or El Permiso? That means promise, and it's Spanish, and because it doesn't matter if it was in Japanese, and it's still been promise. IP protects.
What? And we're running out of words.
Right. I was about to say, so no one in the cigar industry. Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say. So you're telling me, I mean, the titles of my books have been made into songs, made into taglines, and I'm like, they're not telling me that's because when you try to do that, right? They say, oh no, you can't trademark that, right? So you're telling me that they could trademark the word?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, they can. And the only way you get around that is if there's a multi-use on a word, historically, like there's 3 or more people that are using that, even 2 or more, and there's history that they've been using it over a certain duration of time, then the argument to the examiners that, well, it may have been confusing 5 years ago, potentially, of distinguishing between one brand to another, but since they permitted each other to maintain that and allow another entrant in, then it's public domain at that point. So if it's public domain, it's not protected by IP, and then anybody under the sun can do it. But the name of the game is about how do you increase the valuation of your branding, and by having exclusivity, which creates scarcity in the market. that's what you want to lock down whenever possible.
Wow. Oh,
But you
okay.
better be talking to people about the titles of your.
Certainly I will now
You might be
because
sitting on millions of dollars. And you don't even know it.
exactly. And now, so did you already have the artwork and everything so you can use nothing with, do you have to change all of that now?
We don't, not necessarily, no. I think we can still, what we want to do is still, use the artwork now to, and you know what, the symbolism of the cigar and the symbolism of where we're at in this journey, and use that to come up with a name.
Would you be open to maybe a off session, conversation with Natalie, and she can, tell you kind of what we're thinking, and you, being an author, maybe you might have some ideas, that we hadn't considered, because this is all about romance. It's about romance. It's about passion, and it's romance, passion. Whether we're talking about the leaf or we're talking about someone that you love, I mean,
Right.
so this is a love story. Is basically what this is.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We'll chat. We'll chat.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
So let me ask you, when you decided on this, getting back to the coffee, when you decided that you were going to source this from a single source, how long did it take you to find the farm that you were going to use? And do you see yourself using that farm for years, or is it going that you're going to try to source, more coffee from different single sources?
Great questions.
Yeah,
Good questions.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So, in terms of how I found these different plantations, it's because of connections, really. So, my business partner that came in, someone I've known for professionally probably about 5 years, maybe 4 years. Yeah, about 5 years. And we were both completing MBAs, and he wanted to start a coffee business, and told about my lifestyle business, and and he ended up not doing it for different reasons, but he still had a passion for coffee. And the thing is he when he was in college, when he was in his undergrad, he was in Illinois in Bourbonnais, and worked for a coffee roaster, who we use today, Intersect, out there. And between that guy and then another guy I used to call the coffee savant, the guy's name's Jordan, and the guy is amazing. And he worked around the world, in a capacity like a Christian missionary and something like that. And he would learn about coffee, because all these communities were poor, and coffee was how they, derive their income, and so on, survival. And so with all the information and knowledge of this group, that I, again, luck, as how we, make the right decisions, a lot of luck involved. I was able to get access. I said, I want to have a Dominican coffee. And then I was educated that most Dominican coffee is crap. I say, okay. I said, but is there any good coffee in Dominican Republic? And so then they said, yes, but they're very boutique. I said, okay. And so I got a chance, because I manufacture cigars out there, to actually go up and see the plantations and so on. One of them it's been around like 6 generations, 5 generations. It's great. It's still boutique. We call it Ramirez. That's Ramirez. But I got to see, and they have different coffee beans and different processes. And I won't bore you all the details with this, but I'm saying even within these 2 plantations, I can get other coffee that's exquisite. It's wonderful coffee, and it's going to taste a little bit different. And it's not a blend.
Wow.
Okay. Different beans. They have like 5 or 6 different beans that they're using. It's, if you've ever eaten a fresh coffee cherry on the tree, it's so sweet, it's delicious.
Wow. So when you decided on this, you were able to be at the farm, saying that, like tasting the small little pits.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not like a bean per se, but like a little fruit. I'm just gonna use that for lack of a better word. So you were able to pick it and taste it and say, yay, nay,
No, it's a little more complex than that. It's almost kind of like I'll give you an analogy. When you're gonna bake bread, you start with the batter.
No.
If you were to taste the batter, it's gonna taste different than the bread at the end, right?
Right.
You might taste some notes and stuff like that that you're looking for, you know. Like if you're adding, like, I don't know, like cheddar cheese and jalapeno, like different things there, you're
Mhm.
trying to pick up some of those notes, and you might add or reduce a little bit in that process, being experienced as a baker, but it doesn't taste the same. So this cherry that's on it, you might be able to pick some notes out of it, but honestly, until it's dried on these raised African beds,
Mhm.
until it is gone through, the processes of either they leave on the fruit, which is called a red honey process, which I love. It's my favorite. Or they strip it. Now, usually they wash it, or it's just stripped and unwashed. So you got
Mhm.
different processes in this, and it affects how the outcome is. And we're not even roasted yet. And now
Wow.
you roast it. That's a whole science.
Mhm.
I had no
Wow.
idea. I mean, these guys that roast, I mean, they dial things into, precision on the Fahrenheit, Celsius for you, Fahrenheit.
My oven is in Fahrenheit.
but and not just that, but they also have it dialed into the exact time of as it's turning inside, and that the heat, how long it's going to get that heat, and then also ramp up the speed of which the heat comes up and decrease. This is a science. I mean,
Wow.
and if you look at like a chart, like the heat chart that comes out, like a a scatter chart, like of the temperatures, the speed, and all that, and so on. It's a science.
Wow.
It's an art and a science, and so it's very complicated. So, that's something I learned that I had no idea, right?
Mhm.
So just you start with good coffee beans, and so to answer the question, like, well, how can you tell from one plantation to another they have good coffee beans? When you get down to the sorting and you see, what's left in
Mhm.
or what's removed, that's the difference between usually a good plantation, because most of these people have good beans, okay? But it's the processes and so on of how the attention to quality beans of what they leave in, because a cheaper, like a Folgers coffee, something like that, God knows what's in there.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right. So now is the process of importing that into the US, is that similar to what you have to do when you need to get your cigars into the US?
No,
Or is
it's
I would guess it's easier maybe?
yeah, much easier. So I don't have to deal with FDA, and so like that. I just it's in the sense of like excise, all that type of stuff. It's a much easier process. However, going through customs, and the fact that in the case where I bring it from Dominican Republic,
Mhm.
they're always looking for drugs, because
Oh,
unfortunately Dominican Republic, and that's why cigars get torn up, because they're looking to see if you have cocaine, or who knows what fentanyl, I don't, whatever they're looking for.
mhm.
But unfortunately, there's a big reputation in Dominican Republic of drug, movement,
Smuggling.
smuggling. You
Wow.
know,
You know what? I never even thought of that, but I guess that's why a lot of cigar makers are saying how they lose a lot of their cigars in transit. And
Mm,
I never even considered that that was part of the
yeah.
reason why. But I
It
guess with
also
anything.
yeah.
depends on the airport too. Like we fly it into Denver, and when I used to
Mhm.
fly it into Miami, I had more damage in Miami. Miami is notorious for,
Right.
they I think they have an army of people there, right?
Yeah. Oh, of
Be-
course.
And
Of course
naturally
it
Miami, yeah.
Yeah,
And you know what the thing is too is like, so in an airport like Miami, they're going to slice the box, right? And they're not very careful. So who
right.
knows if they're slicing in the box?
Right.
So what we've done is we've asked our factory to put an extra layer of cardboard so that when they're slicing, there's a bit of resistance
Right.
and they're not going to hit the cigars. So
That is really interesting because I guess you really do have to think about every single process that goes into the cigar making, and now with the coffee too, because I'm sure they're opening up those boxes as well, because
right.
coffee does mass you know, certain odors and things like that. Not that I've ever done it. I'm just saying, being an author, I have
Thanks
to
for letting
learn
me
all of these,
know.
I didn't know all of these things.
I'll stop using my fruitcake.
Oh, you have the decaf, and so how many more options of your coffee are you going to have? And are you going to offer this like to boutique cigar shops? You know, like there's a boutique cigar lounge here in Baltimore who does coffee and cigars every Sunday. Like it's complimentary to his customers.
Mm.
And like, so are you looking for those type of places to
Yes,
feature? Because let me tell you
yes.
something, I couldn't even drink my coffee out of a regular mug. I had to go and buy me some cute little tea and, you know, cup and saucer. I just, it felt so
That's too
special to
funny.
be having it. So I actually have two. I have two. They're different, but okay, I didn't go buy it. I went to my mama's house because she got this really good china. So I snatched two of hers.
That's great. That
But
is so
it,
great.
it feels like it's special. The coffee is
Yeah.
special when you drink it. So are you going to try to do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we've got one cigar lounge up in Alaska. So if you're ever in the Alaska in the Fairbanks area, um, yeah, next week, he carries our coffee and cigars.
Okay.
So yeah, Rat Pack cigars.
And he has a coffee shop. He built a coffee shop just because the winters are so bitter up there. It's just to give people another reason to come in and warm up. And what he wanted high quality coffee that could be through a French press. He'd want to have average coffee, and so he chose Sagrado coffee. He bought quite a bit of our coffee and brought in, so far so good up there.
Listen, I had in the French. I've had it all kinds of ways so far.
Yeah.
But the French press is my favorite now. Because first I was scared of the French press because I was like, I'm so impatient. I just need to go. I can't wait to 2 minutes and then put the plunger down. And I was like, oh God, this taking forever. But if you have patience, it is so worth it. So did you choose the coffee that was going to be better for French press, or was that not a consideration?
So it is consideration. So just to let you know, my daily routine is pour over. I do pour over daily. It's not as time consuming as the French press or as messy as the French press because you actually have a filter you use, on the pour over. Just takes a little patience, but so the coffee that we have is all designed to be more so in a pour over or French press environment. Drip is still, it's okay. If you don't have these other two and you're in a hurry, drip. K-cup, I would say, please, if you do it, don't tell me.
Yeah.
I did. I was doing it in the K-cup. That didn't last long.
She was saying, I don't know why you think this coffee's so good. And I said, how are you doing it? She said a K-cup. I said a K-cup. So I went right away on Amazon and I shipped over a pour over and the filters and a grinder. So she's grinding the fresh coffee and everything. And then she's like, oh.
Yeah, it's different. You know what? As a matter of fact, my Keurig broke and it was when you were at my place. I think I'm being sabotaged.
Yeah, I think so.
I drink coffee.
So
I know
I
things.
gotta be personal. I gotta get personal because maybe this has really just gone completely over my head. But is there something here? Is there something here? Like, because I'm just like, am I the last to know?
Yeah. Yeah, you are. Coco, come on.
You know what? Because I was like, wait a minute. And it was a picture, I think, of one of the snowstorms. And it was the picture, and the caption was, you had the coffee and it said sharing special moments with the ones you love. And then I was like, hold it. Wait a minute.
Well,
Clearly, I am slow. Clearly, me not being retired, my brain has like completely gone to a crawl because I'm like, am I missed?
All I can tell you is we don't have an HR problem here.
I love
Oh,
it. I love it. Even though I am literally the last to know.
yeah, I think you are. Newsflash.
It's funny 'cause you get asked the question because we've been kind of little bit on the slow outtake and a little bit on the down low, because we're just taking our time, and just ask questions from time to time. Are you guys?
Yeah. Is there?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I'm so if there's ever any kind of ceremony just gonna be happening, I can go to Canada or Colorado. I mean, you know what? I have actually been trying to get to Canada because I've never been. Like I've literally never been to Canada. So now I have a reason. I have a reason.
There you
I mean,
go.
Thomas
I have a
Hines.
reason.
Just don't go in the winter and you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I love the snow. You posted a picture earlier in the week, or end of last week.
Yes.
I wish that was me. Like I literally love the snow. I don't like
You're
to go
crazy.
out in it. I like to just stay home,
Look at it.
in my pajamas, smoking cigars, drinking your coffee, and looking out the window. Because
Yeah.
I'm older now, so that's what I do. I look out the window and see what the neighbor's doing.
I love it.
I guess what you could do is get snow globe, maybe from the outside looking in, right?
Snow
Right,
globe.
exactly. And I'll be like, so you know what? I'm so happy that I met you all. And like I said, you're like my favorite people. Aside from me being the last to know, you're my favorite people. So whenever you have a new product coming out, you have got to come here first. You got to come here first. Of course, you got to come here first.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
So I know, like on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on. I keep wanting to say Twitter, but it ain't Twitter. X,
Yeah,
are you on
X,
X?
Is
Yeah,
Twitter still around?
X,
Yeah, I mean, I can't get used to the X because, like, what is that? Like, make
I don't
it
know
two
what that is.
syllables or something. I can't get
Right?
with the X, but
Yeah.
it's like make it a number or something. I don't know.
Right?
But
Yeah, you'll. I mean, if you search this, you'll find us like last night we were with Kevin
Shahan?
Shahan or Sheamus
Shahan.
Yeah, Kevin Shahan. Yeah, down in Florida. So we were on his deal, and again that you'll find us on YouTube because we've been on a lot of podcasts where you find us there, like with you broadcast out and so on. Connect.
But on Instagram, he's Sagrado Cigars, and I'm cigar.nerd.
Right. So listen, thank you for joining me today. I have enough coffee to have 2 more cups. So that is what I'm going to be doing. Everybody, you all have got, all of my listeners, everybody, you have got to get this coffee. When you want a nice Sunday morning, lazy, don't rush through this coffee, people, because I got to buy my pour over machine. I got to get one. I use my French press all the time, but now I got to do the pour over. Don't rush the process, people. Don't be a me. Don't be a Coco. Don't skip the process. Just wait, because you will be rewarded, and especially with the Lilith and the yet to be named new cigar that used to be known as the Promise.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be like Prince. We'll be able to name Prince.
Yeah, we'll name it Prince. Yeah. Formerly known.
Just pull
Formerly known as.
Make it a symbol. We'll get together.
Right. Yeah.
Me and Natalie will get together. We're gonna figure this out.
Yes, absolutely. So
Yes.
I'll hook up with Devon and see when we can get a call together.
Yes, certainly
Wonderful.
do that. And I thank you for joining me today. It's been
Thank you.
such a wonderful experience. I can't wait to have you on the show again because I know you're going to be coming out with something even more delicious.
Hey, so I'll tell you what, that store that's local, please, if you have a good relationship with them, if you could introduce our coffee there.
I certainly am.
Maybe we could send you some samples and maybe a little bit extra that gets left behind with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
you have to
I'm
give it
going
all
to see
to them.
him. I'm seeing him in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be up there, and because every time I go, he'll say, "You got any new coffee?" And I'm like, "I got one for you. I'm coming up."
Beautiful. I love it.
So
Well,
you all
thank
have
you.
a great, terrific Tuesday. Natalie, we're going to hook up offline and
Yes,
I'm
we
going to
will.
see you all later. Enjoy your Tuesday.
Beautiful. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.